Morning everybody. I don't know what your plans are for the weekend, but it doesn't look too nice, so keep dry and I hope you enjoy yourself. I think I'm going to be staying in for the weekend. But anyway, I wanted to spend some time talking about the meeting of the Thanet Council Standards Committee on Thursday night. Now basically the Standards Committee is there for supervising the conduct and ethical behaviour of councillors, and it's got 4 independent members, and these members are non-party political, they're not engaged in politics, and they are coming in to the Standards Committee to give an outsider's view, because people like me who are tied up in politics, you know, it's easy to forget how people see you and see your role. So the independent members have actually got a really important role to play. They're like critical friends who come and give us guidance, coming from a perspective of not being politically active, which is a great thing. You know, it gives balance. It allows us to keep our feet on the ground. And it introduces an element of reality into the way that we think and we behave, and boy do we need that. But anyway, the 4 independent members of that group decided to produce a report on public perception of the council and councillors, an absolutely right thing to do, because Thanet has always had, Thanet Council has always had a low opinion in terms of the public. It's never been seen as one of the better councils. So off they went and produced a report. They brought it to the meeting on Thursday, and this report was very hard-hitting. It didn't pull any punches, and they were telling it like it is. And basically, to summarise, it said that the council was seen as a secretive organisation, making decisions behind closed doors, that many of those decisions were against the interests of local people. It also said as well, in terms of councillors, that councillors were felt not to be engaging with their local communities, that they were also, apart from being distant, that sometimes their behaviour was not what it should be. They were attacking each other, arguing with each other, and more often and occasionally as well, arguing with the public and being abusive of the public. So that report came, and it was supposed to be the starting point of discussion about how things could be improved and turned around. So you start with the bad news, and then you get into discussions about, well, how do we change this? How do we make it better? And I believe that was the intention of that report. We're in a pretty difficult position now. How do we turn it round, and how do we change perceptions and actually start doing things differently? So it was a great thing to do, and it was, in my book, long overdue as well. So that's where we got to. But sadly, the report was not taken that way by the councillors who were at that meeting, especially the council leadership, the Labour group leadership of the council. They were very, very critical of that report, and most of that meeting on Thursday was spent with leading Labour politicians, the leader of the council, the deputy leader, cabinet members, queuing up to attack the report, to rubbish the report, and it really was quite an awful spectacle to see that nobody, or very few people at that meeting, wanted to move things forward and start trying to change things. All they wanted to do was bury that report, and that's what they did. They voted to reject the report, to send it back to the people who wrote it, and naturally, by doing that, they forced the 4 members of the 4 independent members of the Standards Committee to resign. It really was an outrage. Here come independent people giving of their time freely to give some advice to help the council and councillors on very, very important issues, and what happens? They're bullied, they're browbeaten, they're rubbished, by extremely senior politicians who were quite aggressive. Now, thankfully, I've recorded that. It's on my blog site. You can listen to it. It's an hour and a half, and you might well fall asleep before you get to the end. But that's a document to show the attitude of the leading politicians in Thanet. And is it any wonder, responding in the way that they did against a well-intentioned report, is it any wonder that the people of Thanet regard their politicians with very low esteem? And you know, I think the actions on Thursday just reinforced the fact that the local councillors running this council leave a lot to be desired. Now, I'm going to move on to do something I don't normally do, and that's defend myself. I mean, I stand by my actions, I do what I do, and I take the consequences. But interestingly, on Thursday, what the Labour councillors were doing was to try to attribute the blame as to why the council and councillors have got such low esteem because of some of my actions. Now, I only wish I was as influential as they credit me for. I'm just one person trying to do my best, yet if you listen to what the Labour leader and some of his gang had to say on Thursday, you'd think I was the most influential person in Thanet, because it was entirely my fault that the council was seen in a negative way. It was entirely my fault that councillors were seen as being badly behaved. I really wish I was that powerful and influential to be able to influence the media in the way that they portrayed. I mean, they're obviously desperate to pass the blame for their own actions or inactions or wrong actions onto someone else. Now, yes, I know I do have a reputation for being outspoken, and that's going to carry on. And yes, I do know I've broken council rules, but I've never ever kept that a secret. I openly break those rules, and there's a reason. There's a reason for it. If rules are wrong or old-fashioned, or if rules are against the public interest, then I've been brought up to challenge and question those rules. Tell the truth and shame the devil is the way that I've been brought up. So if things are going on secretly and behind closed doors, and the public interest is so high that they have a right to know what goes on, I can see nothing wrong with leaking confidential documents. And indeed, the documents I have leaked, and I've only leaked very few of them, and I've always done it openly, they've later been released anyway by the council. You know, they were 4 or 5 years old, and even the council itself had admitted that they shouldn't have been kept secret. And then in terms of some of the other rules, like filming at council meetings, for goodness sake, we're living in the digital age where technology is moving so quickly. Why the heck can't we film at council meetings or any other meeting of a public body for that matter? Most other councils in the country are welcoming in the cameras. The government wants it to happen, and it's happening right across the country. So why should there be such a big fuss if I take in my camera or take in an audio device to record it? Let's get real, Thanet Council. You can't stop progress. You've just been absolutely medieval and becoming an even bigger laughing stock if you won't endorse it. So I don't think there's a big deal in breaking the odd rule or two in order to make progress. And look at history. If women hadn't have broken a few rules, they still wouldn't be able to vote. If black people had not started rebelling in South Africa and breaking the rules, or in India with Gandhi, progress is always made at the end of the day with people challenging rules. So all this talk about, oh, you've got to follow the council's rules, well, I think it's a little bit hypocritical. And you know, I think what I've done has been open, it's been honest. I've said I was going to do it and I've done it. I've took the consequences, and it's always, I believe, been for the right reasons. So I think I've banged on enough now for one day, so I'm going to shut up and I'll let you enjoy your weekend, and I really hope that you don't get too wet out there. Bye for now.